For the last 5 years, the American coaster enthusiasts have held an annual event at Hershey Park called Eastcoaster. Primarily focused on allowing regional parks to talk about their upcoming projects, the event also gives ACE a platform to give details about their own upcoming events. At 2020's Eastcoaster event in early February, 13 different parks and companies gave presentations on upcoming projects, and fundraisers for ACE's continued roller coaster preservation efforts were held throughout the day. In this video, I'll give a quick summary of what each presentation discussed. Kicking off the day's events was Six Flags Great Adventure. The new RMC Jersey Devil coaster's stats were the first thing to be shown, and when asked about the opening date of the coaster, summer was all that could be provided. This was followed by a rundown of all the new or remodeled food, merch, or game stands that would be coming to the park in 2020. Great Adventure then announced that 9 Six Flags members events would be held at the park in 2020, and the member-exclusive pins program would continue. Next up was the announcement of over 50 special events that the park would be hosting, so it might be helpful to pause the video now if you would like to take a closer look at these events. In terms of the safari section of the park, it was revealed that 4 new animal species would be brought to the park, but did not say which ones. During an FAQ session at the end of the presentation, the representatives for the park did not confirm what would happen to the previous existing kiddie rides, where Jersey Devil is now going to be. But they said they are currently planning something for those if they have space for them somewhere else. Ending Great Adventure's presentation on a high note, free skip-the-line passes for Jersey Devil were given to all attendees and were confirmed to be valid for the entire Six Flags season, for whenever the attendees were able to go to Six Flags. Despite coming from a decent distance away, the next park to present was Holiday World. The focus of Holiday World's presentation was their third and newest water coaster, Cheetah Chase, which will also be the world's first launched water coaster when it opens for the 2020 summer season. The next major topic from Holiday World was the significant retracking of around 700 feet of track on the wooden coaster Voyage to smooth out the roughest spots on the ride. Returning to the water park, the family and entertainment area, Myozuki Bay, was announced, set to provide a moderate-scale venue for entertainment within Splashing Safari. For the park, new single-day and all-season photo packages were set to debut. A charitable event, Coasting for Kids, was also announced for August 15th. Of course, Holiday World ended their presentation with showing the promotional video for the large-scale enthusiast event Hollywood Nights, which will happen during the last weekend of May. Bringing the presentations to Pennsylvania, Kenny would present it next. The park began by recapping the 2019 season and the success of Steel Curtain before discussing newer projects. The biggest single project that Kennywood talked about for 2020 was the expansion of Steelers Country and the Steelers Experience attraction, beyond the existing gift shop for Steel Curtain. Next up was showcasing some of the work that the park's maintenance team was putting into making sure all the coasters were in good condition before opening for the year. Other small projects included upgrades to the piers in the middle of the park on the lake and a sensory-friendly quiet room to continue the park's autism-friendly efforts. A big part of Kennywood's 2020 season will be the 100th anniversary of the iconic Jackrabbit wooden roller coaster, which will include a new logo design for the coaster and multiple celebrations of the ride throughout the season. Like Holiday World, Kennywood gave updates on Coasting for Kids, as they were the most successful park of the program in 2019. Kennywood wrapped up the presentation with some important dates for the season, such as special events or seasonal events. A highly anticipated park was the next and newest presenter at Eastcoaster. American Dream began by showing the goals of a large-scale project and progress on each of these as of now. To further show the scale of them all, a promotional video was shown to the audience. Of course, Nickelodeon Universe is the star attraction of the complex, and the presentation then detailed each of the major roller coasters that the park has to offer. No official update was given on the highly anticipated Blasting Bronco coaster, besides that an opening will hopefully be coming soon. Before continuing with more park presentations, the ACE president gave the 2020 winter update for the organization. This mainly served to announce 3 of the main national events ACE will be holding this year, with the first being CoasterCon 43 in late June. Following this, a tentative schedule for ACE's international trip to Italy in July was provided. Finally, the dates and parks hosting this year's Preservation Conference were announced. The fan favorite park Dollywood presented next. 2020 will be Dollywood's 35th year of operation, so the focus of the presentation was on all the festivals and events that the park would be having over the year and highlighting certain festivals. The first of these is the Festival of Nations, which celebrates with music and food from around the globe. At the height of the summer season, the park will be holding their Flower and Food Festival and showcase some of the flower and bright color-based art that will be decorating the park at this time. Ending out the year will be the return of Smoky Mountain Christmas, complete with beautiful lights and holiday theming throughout the park. The final announcement for Dollywood was a new for 2020 season pass holder dining plan and dining pass with 2 different levels that I have shown here. Presenting next is a park whose programs have been mentioned, but they themselves have not been mentioned. Give Kids the World Village. Rather than tell you myself what the mission is, I'll let the video they showed speak for me.
Oh, that's cute.
Hi, I'm Cammy, and I want to tell you about one of the most amazing places in the world, Give Kids the World Village. It's a magical place where kids with critical illnesses come from all over the world to fulfill one big wish, to visit Central Florida's most awesome theme parks. When my family and I came here, we were treated to the trip of a lifetime. From our fairy tale villa to the pool parties and nightly entertainment, this 84-acre resort was not just a hotel. It was more than we ever dreamed. We got to ride horses, play miniature golf, dive into VR, and that's not even the coolest part. My whole family got tickets to the area's best attractions where we got to ride the rides and enjoy the thrills all day long. Oh, and I almost forgot. The meals are great and they have ice cream. Like, even for breakfast. Now, this probably all sounds unbelievable, but it's true. Give Kids the World Village is an awesome place that gives special kids and their families what they need more than anything. A chance to forget about doctors and treatments for a while and just have fun. And you won't believe this, but this fantasy vacation doesn't cost kids or their families a thing. Nope. They count on the support of caring people and companies to keep the magic alive and kids laughing. To learn how you can help, visit givekidstheworld.org.
Following the video, Give Kids the World showed all the parks across America that will be holding Coasting for Kids fundraisers in 2020. Going back to ACE, a presentation on the upcoming coaster event, CoasterCon 43, was given. Kicking the event off on June 20th is KennyCon 31, of course at Kennywood. This will include both morning and evening ERT on the coasters, as well as a special presentation for Jack Rabbit's 100th season, and much more. Next, a general rundown of each day's events was given, and what parks and activities are to be expected on each day of the event. Finally, the official CoasterCon 43 t-shirt design saw its debut. Next up was the first of the host parks of CoasterCon, Hershey Park. Hershey Park started the presentation with recapping the 2019 season, and the multiple milestones and additions to the park that was seen over the season. Of course, the presentation quickly changed focusing on 2020, and the massive new addition the park has in the form of the new Chocolate Town area, which is shown in the best detail yet through a new promotional video.
And you are actually the very first people to see this. We haven't even shared this on our website quite yet, but thought I'd walk you through what you're seeing here. So you'll arrive in our new entrance plaza, which of course will have plenty of trees and shade and some nods to Milton Hershey's legacy, which is at the heart of the Chocolate Town project. And then you can also see this great open space here. Many of the buildings were designed in the style of Mr. Hershey's era. So the architectural choices were very carefully chosen So heavy on brick, which was the material of his era, but then also a lot of hidden touches of chocolate. So we think that'll be a fun scavenger hunt game once it opens. Find all of the kisses and things like that that are embedded in part of the design. So we'll talk a little bit more about what that building is over there, but we'll have larger buildings designed for guest convenience, and you'll come through an all-new front gate. It'll have 20 points of entry, and you probably saw that logo is a throwback to the pinwheel, which we've used throughout our history. So again, the theme of Chocolate Town is trying to bring in what is amazing and unique about us from our history into the modern era and the future. Kisses Fountain, that's where we'll be posing for some Instagram photos, so hopefully you'll be doing that with us as well. Throughout this area, you'll see things that don't exist anywhere else because, of course, they're a nod to the Hershey Company and their iconic brands. Am I the only one excited about grabbing a Starbucks every morning inside the park there? Have to stay caffeinated to keep riding those coasters. There's actually 5 different culinary options throughout Chocolate Town, which we'll touch on here shortly. And then, of course, we'll talk a little bit more about our 15th coaster, Candemonium. I've got another video to show you of that. But this is what it'll look like from inside the park. So what's interesting about our new building there is you'll be able to access that from outside the park as well as inside the park. And we can talk more about that. And I think this is a place I'll be hanging out a lot over the summer. That's the outdoor patio area that will open as part of our new restaurant. So if you're in town to see a concert or something, this could be a great place for you to visit. So that's an updated look at what we are working on. And just as a reminder,
the highlight of this expansion will be the new hypercoaster Candemonium, which also debuted a never-before-seen expanded look at the coaster, showcasing more details of the layout and surrounding area.
Social that day, but of course manufactured by our friends at B&M. So if we've got Great Bear fans in the room, we're excited to add a second B&M to our portfolio. And what you'll notice is it's the very first thing you'll see when you enter Hershey's Chocolate Town. The coaster itself spans 7 acres, and as you're riding it, you will cross over Spring Creek, which has been at the heart of Hershey Park's design since Milton Hershey founded it. You'll cross over that creek 10 times throughout your ride. So it's the most immersive queue that we've ever designed. So really pulling in the Hershey Company brands. Once you're inside the queue, you'll get a sense of that. 7 rows, 4 people each. That's our lift hill. That'll take you up 210 feet, meaning it's the tallest of our coasters. And then off you go, reaching speeds of 76 miles per hour throughout. And this hammerhead turn, which we completed just a couple weeks ago, will then send you kind of rushing back inside the park. And you can see there that the trains are candy themed as well. So we've got Reese's orange, blue for Kiss, and then red for Twizzler. And of course, we're the only place that has a chocolate brown track designed by B&M. So you'll swing around the Kisses fountain. There's a little surprise at the end before you pull back into the station. Just for extra candy emphasis there. We haven't talked about it yet, but we will have a lighting package as part of that. So your ride experience at night will be very unique than it will be during the day.
Hershey Park wrapped up the presentation by revealing some of what they would be doing for coaster enthusiasts during the 2 days that CoasterCon will be at the park. The second host of CoasterCon, Dutch Wonderland, presented next. The park began by showing some of the off-season work that was happening on rides like the Carousel or the coaster Moen's Mayhem. The new Cartoon Network Hotel was also a big focus of the presentation, showing features of both inside and outside the hotel, and examples of some of the themed rooms that the hotel has to offer to guests. The park also showed some old pictures of construction on their star attraction, the Kingdom Coaster. Finally, Dutch Wonderland revealed the schedule of their day of CoasterCon, which includes morning ERT, special tours, speakers, door prizes, and giveaways. The third park that will host CoasterCon and to next present was Dorney Park. Dorney began by talking about some of the highlights of the 2019 season, such as the success of the overnight event Coaster Campout, which will be returning. The popular coaster enthusiast event, Coaster Madness, was also shown, and behind-the-scenes tours from that event were talked about. More 2020 summer events were announced, like the Summer Nights event, as well as the return of Grand Carnival. A large addition to the water park was also announced, in the form of the play complex Seaside Splashworks. Going beyond Dorney, they gave a brief presentation for another Seafair park that was not able to attend Eastcoaster, Kings Island. The Kings Island presentation showcased the new Giga Coaster Orion, with pictures of the construction of the ride. An auction to be the first riders on Orion come early April was also announced. Going back to Dorney, the schedule of events for their 2 days of CoasterCon was announced, including ERT, guided tours, as well as other special events, and a special speaker who remained unnamed. The next presenter, Philadelphia Toboggan Coasters, was the only non-amusement park to present at Eastcoaster. They showed photos of some of the coasters they'd be providing refurbished trains for, such as Boardwalk Bullet, Wild One, and Rampage. PTC finished the presentation with the announcement that they would be opening the facility to coaster enthusiasts during CoasterCon, which will include tours, catering, and presentations. The final park hosting CoasterCon will be Knoebels. Knoebels began their presentation with the announcement that their successful Phoenix Fall Fun Fest will be on October 9th this year, a week later than it normally is. Multiple park updates were announced by Knoebels, including the addition of a magnetic lift system to Impulse, entire new trains manufactured by ART Engineering for Impulse, an entirely new station for Phoenix, and removal of the classic 1001 Nights ride to be replaced by a Wisdom Tornado flat ride. Moving into CoasterCon, Knoebels announced both morning and evening ERT, guided tours, and that head manager Dick Knoebel will be the keynote speaker at annual Ace Banquet. Wrapping up Eastcoaster involved Six Flags Great Adventure taking the podium once more to announce their new post-CoasterCon event, Dancing with the Devil. This will include evening ERT on both Jersey Devil and Nitro, as well as a catered meal and more to come. Finally, registration for CoasterCon was announced, and should open soon to all ACE members.